Madam Toastmaster. Bill Clinton. Lindy Chamberlain. Wayne Bennett. These are three people who have very distinct characteristics. Sorry. Just right. All of you are important as well. Today I'm going to speak on body language, the importance of body language. And those three people I've mentioned, as well as yourselves, have very distinct personality traits when you speak to people and communicate to people, not only through your voice, but also through your body language. People take a lot of information from you when you communicate to them with body language. If you're doing the wrong thing with body language and you're talking to someone, are they going to take you seriously? I don't really know. It's only a part of communication. But fundamentally, it's a very important communication tool when we are talking with people face to face. On the phone, it's not so important. But when you're having face-to-face conversation, you have to make eye contact with people to make sure they get their message. It's very important, very fundamental communication device. Confident Charlie. He moves elected. Right. I'm Harry Highpants. Today I'm here to speak to you about body language. I'm Elvis the elephant. I'm not going to pull the trunk out for you. A good one that Bill Roden always does is Sam. He always has the shirt out. So does Aaron when he's here. And for the accountant in the office, nerdy Neville always likes to have the biro up top there. Sometimes with a few biros there. Sometimes not very good images when you are facing an audience. To probably be one of those characteristics, because people will focus on that while you're delivering your speech. But why have I mentioned these three specific candidates? Because in my years of life, they're probably the three people who stand out the most to me. I'll start with Bill Clinton, the 42nd President of the United States. Liar and cheat. That's what I think of him. But guess what? The American people love him to pieces because he has this power. When you meet him face to face, you engage with him, you feel like that you're the most important person in the world. And that's what a lot of people say about Bill Clinton. He just has this power over people. He can just empathise with them and just make them feel so important. And he fools everyone. I did not have sexual relations with that lady. Remember those famous words? He lied straight down the camera. He said it. And people know that he's a liar and he's a cheat, but people still love him. Why? It's his charisma. It's his personality. It's his persona. You can get away with it. It's his body language. People still trust him. And that's just the importance of body language. Lindy Chamberlain. You know Lindy Chamberlain? The dingo stole my baby. The dingo stole my baby! Now, that lady's guilty. She's guilty as anything. And the reason she's guilty is because this is the image I remember of her. She always wore dark glasses and had the hair like that. It just rings a bell. But you know what she never did? She never showed any empathy. And you know why she never showed any empathy? Kate, you know what? Kate, you know why she showed no empathy? Because her legal team told her you've got to put this persona on. Do not show any emotion whatsoever in this trial whatsoever. And that's what she did. Now, Alan Pearce, he's a body language expert, an Australian body language expert, but he's an international, well-known. Now, he's met Lindy Chamberlain. She's the nicest lady in the whole world. You couldn't have picked a nicer lady in the whole world, but the media wasn't the media. It was her legal team who portrayed her to be this non-emotional lady. Now, Lindy was found innocent 8 years after the event, but she did serve some time in jail. But I've always remembered her, when I was 10 years of age, that she was guilty, because she just had the appearance of appearing guilty. She showed no empathy. She had no emotion with people. The third person who really sticks out in my mind is, hi, my name's Wayne Bennett, and I'm really excited today to be here. My team played really well. You know what? I don't really care what you think, because you know what's important? It's what I think. I know Wayne. If I know Wayne, that's all I'm happy with. And that's dead true. Wayne Bennett says, I know who I am. If I know who I am, that's all that counts. He's the most successful coach in rugby league history, with 7 grand finals under him. He coached the Brisbane Broncos for 21 years. He's with St George Dragons, and now he's with the Newcastle Knights. But when you ask any of his players, what is Wayne Bennett like as a person, as a coach? He's the most sincere, genuine person and wise man that you could ever meet. Why is that? He is just a dead mullet. He's got no charisma about him at all. It's just another example of body language. He hates the media. He doesn't care what the media thinks. But this is the way that he portrays himself. It's because Wayne Bennett is Wayne Bennett. So what's right here? Body language. It's a really important part of our communication. Body language. What is it? It's our hand gestures, the way that we talk to people, the way that we move our hands as we talk to them. It's the way that we slide our body across the audience. It's our eye contact with people. It's a really important part of communication. But the key thing with body language is you can't pretend to be someone that you're not. Bill Clinton, he's a master. He's a communicator. He can relate and communicate with people on all different levels. Absolutely amazing. All I know about Lindy Chamberlain is from what I see on the news and from what I heard from this guy Alan Pearce. I don't know from a bar of soap, but from what I hear that she's a very lovely person and she loves her children very much. I wouldn't know that. And Wayne Bennett, he's just a boring stone mullet. However, I met Wayne Bennett last year at a seminar. And he said something to me which is really important. And this is what I want you to take away today from today's talk. Is that Wayne Bennett is Wayne Bennett. And you can't change who Wayne Bennett is. If you're comfortable with yourself, you can then look after your family. You can then look after your workmates, or your football team, or your players. Because you know who you are. And for Wayne Bennett, the number one person in the world is Wayne. If he looks after Wayne, everything else falls into place. So when he communicates to people, he doesn't care how he communicates to someone because he's communicating to an audience the way that he wants to communicate to an audience. But Bill Clinton, on the other hand, he's got to be out there. He's got to be there with people, communicating the right message all the time. Two totally different contrasting styles, but both work very effectively for each other. So at the end of the day, body language is about communicating to everyone in the room and having communication with people and portraying that. However, really what body language is you've got to know yourself and have confidence to portray the image that you want to portray. So myself, I like to get in front of the audience, have a bit of a play around. I experimented with the Toastmasters. That's what I'm here for, to experiment and play around. And I'll do it in work life as well. But some body language will work for Trevor, it will work for Alan, it will work for other people. You've just got to practice it and try to see if it works for you. Don't think that you have to put body language into your speech every time or into the people you engage with. Just do what's right for you and your body language will speak itself. Body language. It can either make you or sink you. But who cares? Just be yourself. Thank you.
Toastmaster. This evening we heard a very informative and humorous speech from Nick about body language. Now, the introduction was started very interesting, almost chatty sort of a way, but following a definite. There was a method in it, and he had three famous people, as he mentioned, and there was a definite humour used to introduce the whole idea. He brought his pockets out, his shirt was out, and then I noticed also there was some tape on his shoe, and I don't know if he mentioned that, but there was something that was added, sort of. Anyway, that was all part of being a bit humorous, and then he went through each of those people and why they, the qualities or otherwise that he thinks that they have. Then he had basically a serious look at body language, and then also that we can use it to, if we wish or if we don't want to, and that was a very interesting analysis of it. I felt that it was, as I said, that it was an excellent use of humour right at the start. It had everyone laughing, and it was great to set the scene. Because I've known a number of people, speakers in the past, that say something that start with a bit of humour and then hit people with something very serious later on. And so Nick did that bit of humour, quite a bit of humour, and then a bit of seriousness later on. But I felt that, I don't know if it's a point of improvement, that very early there was a bit of a, lost the thread a little bit, I thought. It was very, very early just towards the end of the introduction, and it was picked up very quickly. In fact, probably you could say it was so smooth that it was extremely well done, but maybe that was just a minor thing. But it was very well done. But besides that, Toastmaster.